Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rhythms of Access podcast. This is a podcast where we explore the intersection of disability, music, and creativity, featuring candid conversations with disabled artists that are shaping the arts scene. This episode is brought to you by Blurring the Boundaries Arts and the Canadian Accessible Musical Instruments Network, with support from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Diane Kolin. She is a French-born Canadian singer, music director, and advocate whose work like spans jazz, baroque, and French chanson. She has dedicated her career to making vocal training accessible to singers with disabilities and also developing pedagogical tools and workshops that are tailored to diverse needs. And beyond performance, she is a musicologist, and she's currently completing her PhD at York University, researching disabled musicians from historical, sociological, and educational perspectives. Without further ado, I welcome to you my good friend, Diane Kolin.
Thank you so
And
much for having me. Hi, I'm very
it's so
excited.
good to see you.
Good to
Yeah,
see you too.
it's been such a long time coming, and I'm so glad we're finally sitting down and getting to chat a little bit, and for people to also get to know you and know about all the awesomeness you are and the cool things that you are doing within the music world.
Thank you. I'm really enjoying myself and all that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, there's a saying that says if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So I'm glad that you're enjoying that.
I agree.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Diane, before we get started, I'd like to do a little icebreaker question for our guests, just for people to kind of like get to know you a bit more up and close and personal. So today's icebreaker question for you is, if you could only listen to one song or piece of music for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
I would be very sad if I had to listen to only one song.
Only one song that's going to carry you through everything that could happen. Yeah, what would it be and why?
Well, it would definitely be Ella Fitzgerald, and it would probably be How High the Moon,
Oh,
because there is a
okay.
very cool scat that she's doing that I love on this
Okay.
particular version that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And I I love singing that. I also love teaching that because I was taught myself this scat in a particular way that I try to carry. And
Yeah.
yeah, so probably this song.
Interesting. Okay. It's called sorry,
How High the Moon.
How High the Moon. All right. Awesome. No, Ella Fitzgerald is amazing. That's really cool. That's really
Yep.
awesome. Interesting. So then let's start from the beginning, okay? This is chapter one of this journey of yours. So what sparked your love for music, and how did you realize, like, you know what, this is the path I want to take. This is the path I want to follow professionally.
I think it comes from two different parts of my life. One is
Mm,
my family, especially my parents were listening to a lot of music, but the person who really triggered my curiosity and tried to show me a lot of things was my grandmother. And also my grandfather brought me a lot of jazz knowledge. So both brought me some classical music and some jazz music. So very early, I could listen to a diversity of music, or at least some diversity of music at home. But jazz was always something that really, really interested me. Also, anything musical that is a bit different from what you can hear, from mainstream. And one of the things that I was raised, sorry, I was raised in Holland, in Amsterdam. And in Holland, there is a famous musical called, in English, the translation would be Children for Children, Kinderen voor Kinderen. And I was lucky to perform in that musical when I was a young child. And this really like showed me that, wow, this can be an amazing journey. It's only children, they're only musical talents, and they sing musicals. So that was my start in that. And I was
Wow.
5 years old. And
So
then,
that was your first performance.
yes. And then after that, growing up, I went back in France at a certain point, and growing up, I started being really interested in learning vocal techniques and like being more immersed in voice pedagogy, but also saxophone, because I wanted something to counterbalance that has nothing to do with voice. And piano was too classical, and I wanted something else in jazz, and I picked saxophone, which was quite unusual, because when you're doing voice, you are asked to do another instrument, and usually it's piano, because you have to know your chords, and you have to be able to accompany yourself. And I was like, but I would just want to play saxophone.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
did.
That's amazing. I didn't know you played saxophone. That's really amazing.
I used
Was
to. I
it?
don't play very well anymore. I still have my saxophone, but I
Oh,
don't
wow.
play a lot.
Alto, tenor. Yeah.
Yeah, alto.
Okay. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. And so that playing that in that experience for performing when you were a kid, um, what were your other mentors that came along the way after that first performance?
Um, so I was really listening to a lot of things. So I didn't have really a mentor per se. I had trends. So I had the trend where at a certain point I was listening to all. Ella was easy because I consider Ella Fitzgerald as my teacher. She's my first teacher. uh, by listening and by trying to work with her technique, and later in life, I also had a teacher who showed me how to do it correctly. Because
Yeah,
when you do it by yourself in a room as a kid, it's different from being with a professional
yeah,
showing you things.
yeah.
But also I had a period where I was listening to indigenous music from America, from in my room, making everybody crazy, because I really liked the rhythm, and I really liked things that were different again.
Yeah.
So I guess I never had, and then classical music. My grandmother was very much into Beethoven, so she made me discover Beethoven at a very early age, and I became a musicologist thanks to my grandmother, really. And I listened to different sounds of jazz and influences of jazz thanks to my grandfather. And I listened to um, a lot of French chansons, because we had that at home and growing up in France. And all that, in a way, has influenced me. I didn't have one single, I had several.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So looking at all these different genres, like what what kept you, like what continued, like what led you to continue to be drawn to those styles, and how did that like shape you as an artist? Like how did that shape your artistic identity?
I had one very important experience that was happening every year, and it was the young jazz artists in the Alps. Every summer, I was sent to a musical camp, where for 1 month we were not only having workshops it was jazz only, right? So we had workshops in music listening. We have workshops in rhythm. We have workshops with or in our own fields, and then we had master classes, and we had the greatest musicians from the planet coming and playing with us for just during 1 month or 2 days, and then usually bringing all the children. I mean, we were from 12 to 18 of age, and we were like forming a big band or forming a vocal ensemble and doing the backs to these artists, singing with Darren Reeves, singing with Didi Bridgewater, when she did her Ella. It's the recording. So it was fantastic. Toots Thielemans and all the Steve Coltrane came, and we had I mean we had so many during all these periods. And so this really shaped my willingness to become a professional in jazz. I also had at home the love of my grandmother for stories and for history, and that developed my musicological skills, and wanting to read a lot, wanting to listen to a lot of different things, and not only classical and not only jazz, but also other things. And so I guess these two experiences, one with my grandmother and one with the young jazz players, this was really important in my life.
It's incredible. That's incredible. I know that, artists with disabilities are not always in the front center stage within the music scene or within any form of art. And, like learning about your work over the last year, like, I know you've worked on, pedagogical tools and workshops that support singers with disabilities. Can you share with me a bit about like what actually inspired this work, and how are your tools transforming music education?
Well, it started with personal experience. I have a progressive disease. So I grew up standing, and then I got crutches, and then I was in a wheelchair, and then I lost more and more mobility every time. And when you learn voice, you learn in a specific way, very rigid, actually. Not today, it's evolving a little bit. But at the time I was a child, it was, feet on the ground, you have to stand, you have to breathe in a certain way, you have to carry your body in a certain way. And when my body was changing and I got crutches, so I didn't have 2 legs anymore, I had 4. And that changed some position of my body, and it changed my balance, and it changed things. And then sitting in a wheelchair, wow, okay, so that's completely different. How do I adapt? So I learned how to adapt, but by myself. I didn't have any teacher who was showing me how to do that. And so today I'm a wheelchair user, and I try different techniques. I try whatever works, and I work with singers who have progressive disabilities, and also singers who are using mobility devices or needing to sit or needed. And we adapt a vocal pedagogy that works for specific access needs for each person. And that started with the vocal pedagogy. And then I'm also a voice teacher in a very cool school in Toronto called Community Music Schools of Toronto. And the particularity of that school is that you have children from all ages, really, really willing to learn music, but also they are offered workshops to discover other things, not only what they're doing, but also other things they have no access to. And the director of the school agreed that I could organize accessibility workshops. So I had a group singing a song in ASL, in American Sign Language, with someone I worked with. I'm not the one who taught them sign language. I taught basic sign language to 4 or 5 years old in the early musical beginnings. That was very cool. It was Baby Shark. Baby Shark. It's not very difficult in sign language. So without realizing, they were already learning sign language and moving and singing. And that with teenagers, I brought someone to help me on that. And then we did a Braille music workshop reading, and we did a cool workshop about playing music with new technology, and then playing music with different part of the body. Okay, let's imagine I have no arms. What do I do? I have still access to my legs. Could I play with my legs? Could I play drums with my feet? Could I play the piano with my feet? So they explored things. And it, it really, by doing that, it's not only the fact to do that, it's the fact to say, wow, I had no idea that was existing. And they bring that as young students, they bring that at home and they say to their parents, oh, you know what I did today? No way. And then we performed at one of the final concerts. We did 2 workshops. We showcased the ASL workshop, and we showcased the music and new technology workshop. And it was very cool. And this started other workshops that I'm giving somewhere else. I gave a workshop at U of T on that, singing the voice. And so the students were not students with disabilities, but they knew that if you counterbalance your body, it will change something. And so my wheelchair was used, and also crutches from one of the teachers. And it's like, oh yeah, never realized that my body was so reactive to anything external that was adding to it. And instead of saying, oh no, I don't want to, they said, okay, let's explore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that I carry this workshop now. I'm giving that. I'm also training adults so I did that a lot with children, and I also do it with adults. For example, I'm working with actually Mississauga. I'm working with a theater company who is very interested in knowing what it is to have an accessibility included in their productions. And so we're going to do soon. It's going to be in a few months.
So are you the only one doing this type of work in your field? Or do you know other people who have also kind of like reshaped this in other parts of the world or other parts of Canada?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, because it doesn't exist being the only one. But it's rare. It's rare enough. Now it's rare in the arts. I think vocal pedagogy. I know another. For example, I know a soprano who is in Vancouver, and she's a very cool woman. And she also has a voice studio, and she teaches students with disabilities and without disabilities. And we sometimes talk about that, about the fact that having a teacher who is curious enough or willing enough to change habits and adapt to the needs of the student is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. I know you love collaborating. You and I have collaborated, and we have a bunch of the mutual colleagues we've collaborated with, and I know you've worked with choirs, orchestras, etc. What do you value most in collaborative projects, and how does
accessibility
play a role in your work?
What I value,
what do you value most? Yeah.
It's learning from each other. Because when you collaborate, you learn new things, you learn new techniques, you learn new ideas, and it's like, wow, yes, let's combine that. Let's bridge the gaps between whatever whatever style or whatever technique, or so that's really I love that in collaboration. Accessibility, it has been a real challenge.
Okay, go on.
So I think we all share that when we have a disability. And a very cool collaboration for me is RAMPed, recording artists and music professionals with disabilities. They have musicians from North America, from Europe. We all, I'm a pro member of RAMPed, and we all have this disability. But in a way, that's our commonality, but that's also our strength. And by having workshops, speaking about that, but also helping each other, bringing each other, like we did together, also with other paths. It's that, for me, a collaborative work where you are free of this preconceived idea that disability is preventing artistry. It's totally stupid. I also work as an agent and as a musical agent. And actually, right now, I'm on tour with a musician who is working with me, and we are doing some collaborative work. So we are playing together and singing together and playing together, but I'm also accompanying him as a tour manager. And
Wow.
I come to these theaters, and a lot of people are saying, whoa, okay, it's the first time I see a tour manager in a wheelchair. Okay, why? I don't know, you cannot access the backstage, you cannot access this, you cannot access that, but maybe we can think about it together. Yes, let's do that. Let's think about it together. It's not always that the case that they say, maybe you can think together. Most of the time they say, sorry, not accessible. But I always, because I'm a nice person, and I was like, okay, let's talk now. Okay. How could we bring me behind the stage now so that I can be with this artist?
That's interesting. So while we're still on this subject on like barriers and accommodations within the music scene, in your case, like as a tour manager, what unique barriers have you personally like encountered that you've been able to turn into the challenges and triumphs?
As a tour manager, it's mainly access, right? It's mainly how can I make sure the artist lodge or the green room is ready if I cannot access it. But so we find solutions. I'm a person. I'm a solution finder, and if there is no solution, I don't believe there is no solution. So there is always a way to find, to imagine a solution. And that was my main challenge. It's really like, okay, if I cannot access the stage, then can we at least find a way that I can meet the artist somewhere in between the stage and the green room, for example. We have we have found solutions everywhere. Sometimes they give me a phone so that I can call, I don't know, a person who's going to help me. Sometimes sometimes I just need to text the artist and say, okay, ready to go, you can go on stage, because I cannot knock on the door and say. But yeah, that's it's really access for a tour manager. For as a singer, it's different. Yeah, it's different because first of all, I've faced a lot of moments where I could not change with the others. The change room was upstairs, and I couldn't change upstairs because the elevator was broken, because we don't have any access to this particular part of the, but we have a special toilets for you if you want. And I'm like, but I want to be with everybody else. I don't want to be special. I want to be with the rest of the group. Oh yeah, but we
yeah,
cannot. Or I got stuck on the elevating platform with the wheelchair. I got stuck in the middle, and then it was the stress of not, okay, so I need to perform. How do I do that? And so if you have that kind of stress before performing, that was horrible. That's the kind of experience. Also, sometimes you have people who are very they want to please you and they want to surprise you, but they don't tell you. For example, I have an experience where to surprise me, they brought a ramp, but they didn't know what kind of ramp. And they ended up having a ramp that was like that. And I fainted just before the just before the performance because I wanted to please them and I wanted to try if this ramp would work, and I shouldn't have done that. And then after that we discussed, right? We said, well, we know, we learn, we grow together. So we know that if you want to surprise me and rent a ramp, that's fine, but first ask me what kind of ramp.
yes, yes,
Discussing, like conversing,
yeah,
it's very important. Discussion is very
yeah.
important part of the process of accessibility.
Wow, wow, my goodness. I'm sorry you experienced that.
Well, I
Goodness.
experienced that, but I also experienced nice experiences where,
Uh-huh.
so I came for the rehearsal one day and the concert was the day after. And in the meantime, they built me a ramp. And so when I came to the theater the next day, there was a ramp for me. Things like that. And I like that. I like people like,
Yeah,
okay, let's try to do something.
yeah, yeah. Wow. So let's talk about your PhD research in Europe. Um, I know it focuses on musicians and composers with disabilities. What are some of the most surprising and inspiring things that you have uncovered in your research?
So before the PhD, I was doing a master and I was already working on that topic. So I interviewed cool people. I interviewed people from all around the world. I mean, I interviewed a group of blind women from Cairo, touring, existing since 20 years. I interviewed, people from all horizons, and it was how does disability integrate a society, and in different society from different part of the world, how does it impact music? And it was really interesting. From that, I said, okay, I want to do more. So I want to go not only to interviews, but I want to research history of disability in music. And my first disabled musician documented, because in academia you have to have things that are documented.
Yeah.
I found things from the 14th century. And so I decided to start by medieval time and go to today. And then, so in my dissertation, what was surprising is finding all these histories of musicians who are long forgotten, but who really changed something in their period of time. And who remembers that Braille created Braille music, and who remembers he was a cellist, and who remembers that he borrowed the idea from I don't know, from some other researcher who already had some point systems, but then he also wanted to play the organ, and so these the behind the scene. I love the behind the scene stories. I love the everything that makes the person who the person is. And musicians with disabilities, they are first people with a lot of stories, and I like that. I really like these stories.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I had no idea regarding Braille. You've taught me something new.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dan, I know you have like a lot of things on the go at the same time. Like I'm always trying to see like what is Diane up to right now? Like I can't ever like really pinpoint because you're wearing so many hats. What's exciting? What's something you can share with us that's exciting for 2025 that you're doing, that you're able to disclose?
Yes.
Um, yeah, what's upcoming for you? What performances, projects, or any like research milestones that are coming up this year? Yeah, give us spill some tea. Give us the scoop a little bit.
Okay. So for now, as I mentioned, I'm on tour. I'm in
Yeah.
Switzerland with a pianist called Bernard Ruchti, and he's a musicologist and pianist and very good friend of mine. We met in research and we became very good friends. And we have lots in common. And one of our things in common is French chanson. And
Oh,
so we have a duet. Our
wow.
next concert is March 12th. After the tour, actually, we finished the tour March 1st, and we go
Oh,
everywhere in Switzerland. So we have yeah, cool places. We just came back from Basel and Bern and Aarau, and we're next week like on next week we're gonna be in Geneva and then in Tours and then La Chaux-de-Fonds and then St. Gallen where I am right now, which is 1 hour from Zurich. Then we have
goodness.
this French chanson concert in March. This one's going to be for Women's Month, proud women, right?
Wow.
And for Women's Month, we're going to do a 100% women's performers set. So it's going
Yeah.
to be a concert with that. Another concert that is very cool that is coming in May is Carnegie Hall. Believe it or not, I will sing in Carnegie Hall.
I I want to say I'm a little jealous. I am very jealous. Goodness.
Yes, and I'm sure they don't have a lot of wheelchair users in Carnegie Hall, but I know they're
Yeah,
accessible.
goodness.
Yeah, with a classical
That's
ensemble. Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that's
Wow,
performances.
you must be counting days.
Yes, it's amazing. I'm so happy we're doing that, really. It's an opportunity
Wow.
of a lifetime.
Yes, yes.
So that's
Oh
in
my
May.
goodness.
Yeah, so that's the close things. And then academically, I'm supposed to finish my dissertation this year and finish
Yeah.
my PhD and become a doctor. Dr.
Wow.
Diane, right?
My goodness. That's
So that's
exciting.
I'm writing right now. I'm writing a lot between when I'm on,
Yeah.
taking the trains for the tour, I'm writing.
It's,
When I also work here at the University of St. Gallen, I met some people who allowed me to have a desk over there, so
yeah.
pretty good. I'm coming back in Toronto in April,
I was going
and
to ask you, I'm like, when would I even have time to see you? I feel like, you're so busy and won't have time for little people like me, you know?
oh no, 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 don't worry. There was always time for collaboration, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely let me know when you're back.
I will.
Definitely let me know. It would be great to catch up and hear all the adventures and stories that you get up to during your time away. So before I let you go, Diane, what advice would you give to up and coming artists with disabilities who are looking to break into the music industry professionally?
Hmm. I would say don't be afraid.
Hmm.
It's a frightening world, right? It's frightening because a lot of things are not accessible or there is not a lot of place for your access needs. But be bold. I mean, and contact your peers, contact us. We went through a lot of things, and we are really willing to share that or experiences. And I learned from my peers. So really, it's a learning process. I think we keep learning all the time. So don't be shy or don't be afraid to reach out and try both things. Like really, you're the one who's knowing what your access need is. You're the one who knows your dreams and projects. So go for it and there's going to be ups and downs, right? There's going to be mountains and wheelchairs or crutches or rollators. It's not really good friends, but doesn't matter. I'm sure you find a path at a certain point.
So don't be afraid dare to dream,
Yeah.
and get connected with the community.
Yes.
Wow, incredible. Diane, thank you so much. How can people follow you? How can people follow your work? How can they keep updated with what you're doing?
I have a website, which is dianekolin.com, which is my first name or last name.com, not difficult. I'm on
Yeah.
YouTube. I have actually my company Artsively has also websites delivering these workshops, and we have a podcast too. And you were a guest on this podcast,
Yes.
so if you can type gifts on YouTube or Spotify, you will find his podcast, and also he was guest on mine. Yay! Collaboration.
Yes, yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, all that.
Oh, that's awesome.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, because I fear that more and more some platforms will disappear, like Facebook and Instagram. So Blue Sky is a cool alternative right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We'll make note of that and include it in the description of this podcast. But Diane, it's been wonderful chatting with you. Thank you so much, and thank you for your encouraging words for us to not let fear take control and for us to dare to dream and to capitalize on the power of community as a catalyst to overcome our fear. Thank you for those encouraging words, and I wish you all the best. I hope the tours go well
Thank you.
and all your performances that you're doing, especially the one at Carnegie Hall. I'm looking forward to some coffee chats and hearing how all of that went. And hopefully we'll have you again soon. But till then, good luck and hope everything goes well.
Thank you. And thank you for the invitation. It was really cool to speak with you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.